Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lancescurv of Lancescurv.com. If you do not see us on social media anymore, you can always come to Lancescurv.com. You'll see all of our work over the last 22 and a half years there. I have a lot of cross threads and red dots on this platform, but we're ready for them. Let them come. I guess I have a big mouth. I guess I'm not politically correct, but I'm always going to tell the truth. I can't lie. Forget George Washington. I'm the one who can't lie, but I get penalized for it. Anyway, how's everybody doing this evening? Right now in Accra, Ghana, it is 11:48. My bedtime. You know, when you get old, you got to get into bed earlier. But again, I'm a little fatigued. Got Brother Neil Frazier's show set up for tomorrow night. I don't know what I'm going to talk about in the morning, early, but something good is going to come. Let me tell you something. I never have to search for content or topics to speak about. Not because I'm so much of a brain, but that's how it happens. You know, I'm living like a monk now, and I have to get my ideas together easy. And they come to me. I'm not drinking. I'm not doing drugs. I'm not trying to kill my body with alcohol and filling voids with fake personas. I am who I am. You ask me a question, I'll give you an answer. Even if it's something uncomfortable to you or me, I'm gonna tell it. I'm a tell it kind of guy. You ask the question, I'll give you the answer. And I'll tell you every gory detail. Yes, I don't sound like I'm fatigued. I feel it in my body, but it's always been where when I feel fatigued, it's like a natural high for me. Not too tired, but just a little fatigue. It just makes me feel high. And my imagination kicks in. And this is not going to be a 5-hour show. We did a show earlier. The title was My Mother Was the First One to Break My Heart. Sister Robin came in and broke down her life. And it was very empowering. And again, I take my hat off to her for bearing her soul, speaking about very personal things that most people would really shy away from. And she talked about it. And that's the kind of conversations I believe that we should have out here. Anyway, where do I start with this? Well, I was just sitting here and I thought about the pride of workmanship. And I said to myself, wow, we don't have that anymore. But let me kick back, because when I thought about that, I thought of an old friend and coworker who I lost contact with, and his name popped into my head. I won't put his full name out there. It's an Italian man. We worked together in Home Depot, nicknamed Gino. Gino, if you're listening to this, I know you're laughing. I sent you a joke. We had some very specific jokes that were real funny about certain people who are in our midst who are just clowns. And he could tell you I'm the same way then as I was now. And we had a lot of fun together. But, you know, he worked there, but it was the kind of thing where, you know, he's a master of his craft. This man taught me so much about tile work, and I was amazed at his expertise. But this guy was trained by the old Italian masons. We're not talking secret handshakes. We're talking about the guys who got into their craft, and they wouldn't accept less than the best. One day, Gino brought me over to his house, and I saw the granite work that he did. It was the best I ever saw. Hands down, the best. If I tell you that if you met him, this guy does the best. He's not doing it professionally now. I guess he still does it for friends or little jobs, or if he has a crew somewhere. He's into other things right now. But this guy was the brain on tiles. Home Depot did not deserve him. He was above that. And he's going to hear this. And that was 30 years ago, maybe 29 years ago, when I started working there and met this man. We had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And it's amazing to see how many years pass by. And I always give credit where credit is due. but we had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. And when his name popped into my head, I said, let me search him. So he has a very much Italian name. There's not so many people with that first and last name together. I tried before, didn't find it. Looked into it and saw his photo. I was like, oh man. So I clicked the photo. His LinkedIn page pulled up. Man, I sent him a joke. It wasn't even like, hey, call me. He'll find the stuff because all my stuff is out there. I sent him a joke that I can't really say. It was a funny joke between the both of us about somebody else. You know, I'm off. Let me tell it. There was another coworker there, right? He was an older man, but now he would be maybe a couple of years younger than me. He was in his 50s. I'm 60. And this man, while on the surface was a nice guy, he wasn't venomous. He was just a little petty. His name was Roy. I don't want Roy to hear this. Maybe Roy's with us or not, I don't know. But he won't. All these episodes, he's not going to find this. So I have an abstract sense of humor. So Gino and I would be walking the aisles doing stuff, helping customers and stuff like that. And Roy felt that Gino didn't do enough. But Gino's value there was so much needed because the things that they would teach you in the classes to work at Home Depot and pushing their products, common sense stuff. So you had a lot of guys who were in different fields, plumbing, electric, building materials, floor and wall. That's the department I worked in. And they would send us away sometimes for a week to take these classes. But it was really about the products that they sold. It didn't give you hands-on, real-world expertise. So, you know, Gino would have to go to the class. And I guess sometimes folks didn't dig him too tough because he knew more than the instructors. And he had an edge on him where, like, listen, I know more than you. But he was like Muhammad Ali. He could talk it, but he could walk it. I remember somebody, I believe it was in Italy, called him to ask him about a problem that he was having with the tile. I'm going to get him on the show, Gino. So the guy's like, wait a second. I'm seeing spots in my tile. I think it was marble. Yeah, it had to be marble because it was porous. Tiles are not porous, granite's not porous, but marble is porous. You drop grape juice on the marble, you're messed up. So anyway, Gino quickly said, well, they used the wrong nails to hold down the board. What do you call it now? On the floor, you put extra plywood there, and they used the wrong nails that rusted, and the marble, after a while, the rust came up and showed in the marble slightly. You see what I mean? So, Brother Kevin, I was going to tell you I was going live. I'm still going to listen to those messages you sent me, and I'm going to hit you up after the show. I'm only going to be here about an hour. Yeah, when I say that, look out. It might be 2 or 3. I don't know. I'm a little fatigued, though. But I'm so enthusiastic about this and what we're doing now and the vibe we have now. Giant Gain, I see you. I love you. Sun glows rays. Yes, I see you. Greetings from North Carolina. Everybody, let us know where you are. And give a shout out to loved ones who are here, maybe have transitioned, your high school, your town, whatever. Right? Mozinga, I'm glad you've been liking the topics. I'm going to keep it coming. Kevin Clark, we go back to the 70s. Yes. If I have a book written about me, he's got to write a few chapters because he knows a lot of dirty little secrets of mine. It's like that. But anyway, the joke is, Roy didn't hate Gino. But Roy's the kind of guy that when a supervisor would come around, he'll start moving his hands, straightening up tiles, the Oriental rugs, the Asian rugs. He would start getting to be a busybody to try to prove to the supervisors, yes, I'm a hard worker. Gino didn't care. Folks would jump in the aisle. I didn't jump. I would just work. I didn't care who's around. But Gino would see a supervisor and lean up against the rack. Hey, how you doing, Ed? But they knew, the supervisors knew that he knew way more. So Roy, he didn't hate him, but he just despised him. Hate's a strong word, but he despised the fact that he had this confidence. That's what it really was. And he knew so much, and he wasn't fearful of supervisors because that was a kind of a pressure job. Back in those days when that store opened up, that was the first store on Rockaway Boulevard, right? In Queens, South Ozone Park store. Then one opened up in Brooklyn, and I don't know now, it's probably got to be a whole lot of them. So I'm a comedian, I'm a clown. So I said, you know what, Gino, you know, Roy despises you so much that when he's having sex, he calls out your name, not in a homosexual way, but he is having, I gotta say it decent, he's having sex with his woman, approaching orgasm, and he starts getting mad at you because he's feeling good. And he's saying, oh, that damn Gino, I cannot stand him. Oh, baby, this feels good. But Gino does not deserve to feel this. And I know he's got girlfriends out there, that damn Gino. I said, man, that's got to be some kind of hate that you approach an orgasm and you call out the next man's name because you despise him because you're mad that he's getting sex too. Ain't that something? Maybe that's a little too adult for this particular show, but you'll know how it is. It's like with me, I got so many different gears. You got to realize it's almost like going to the freezer in the middle of the night and trying to get a cup of a swirl, the chocolate, strawberry, vanilla swirl ice cream in the dark. When you scoop that ice cream up, you might get mostly chocolate and a little strawberry and some vanilla. Or a lot of vanilla, a lot of strawberry, and no chocolate because you can't see what you're digging. So with me, when you come on the show, you just don't know. I hope I didn't insult anybody. I was like, oh, God, that guy, Lance, he's crazy. But I want to say, these days, society, many people, as they should, when they go to work, they just don't get janky. You know I'm nuts. But you know, I'm a kind, gentle soul. But so many of us are so focused, and this is why I put money behind my image on this banner. This is not as detailed of a banner. I just whipped it up and threw it up. I said, okay. I was struggling. I was like, man, should I go to bed and just, nah, let's just do one more tonight. But today, everybody is about this thing, you know, and I'm not throwing off on younger folks, mind you. No age, but it is where the younger folks, and I'm not an old dude saying it's the younger folks. It's a lot of us too, right? We talk about getting the bag. We got to get the bag. That's the most important thing, is getting the bag. And I read you because the economy is really tough. We have to work twice as much now to get the same effect with our cash. And I have to say it again. I got to find my friend who used to ride with me on the bus in Orlando, Florida. And we did a show. He's an older white man. Well, I hope that he's still with us because, you know, you never know these days. Lots of times we're driving down the street and we're in a traffic jam and we see the rear windshield in front of us. And it'll be a dedication to somebody who's transitioned on. And the numbers might say 1993 to 2013, rest in peace, whoever. And it shocks you. You're like, whoa, this person only lived 20 years. They were born after me and they transitioned before me. It starts to make you say, hey, let me go get a checkup. Let me take care of myself. And I'm not going to say it bothers me because you can't embrace life unless you embrace transition. And like I've always said before, we came from somewhere. You came out crying, pretty much. You know, you didn't come out and say, well, let me get the Sunday paper to catch up on what I need to know about the world now. No. But we're going somewhere, and it's a natural order. It is orderly. We just don't know it yet. But we see those numbers and we start to become great mathematicians when it's odd numbers. We don't hardly see rest in peace, 1927, 2023. You know, whoa, they lived to 96 years old, depending on when their birthday was. It's always the less numbers or something that may be even on your exact year. And it snaps you into reality that we might not be here forever. And we become more accepting of transition as the years go by, because more and more our loved ones, we witness this. And one day somebody's going to hear about us, unfortunately, but it is part of the system. Those in the chat room who are here or watching the show, we know that. I don't have to preach to the choir. But we should be getting better every year. We should be striving to become better people every single year. I have my hang-ups. I have my quirks. I have my fetishes. I like those. But overall, we want to become better people. And I'm telling you, today we were texting back and forth. My friend here, Kevin Clark, my brother, who I love very much. And we were speaking on a situation. I won't get into detail about that. I will tell some of it, but I won't get into detail about that. There was a person who was messing around with a young lady that we both knew. Kevin knew her from a distance. I knew her in a very intimate way, but it wasn't a dedicated, committed relationship. I'll admit that. So she was messing around with this other guy. I didn't know, and I didn't care at the time. Oh, well. But evidently I heard that he had smacked her in the face, and then she turned around. I'm going to get my friend on you. And she described me at the time as a big, muscular, strong, whatever. That's what she said, Kevin, right? I mean, you could drop some lines in there to support the story. And he was scared because he didn't know me. It wasn't like he was scared of me. But he was, nobody wants to think of some big, muscular dude running up and, you know. And this guy wasn't an aggressive type, I don't believe. But, you know, he was a man. But the fear of the unknown had him going. So he approached my friend Kevin. My friend Kevin's like, listen, and this is why I say it was a big compliment. He said, listen, this guy, he may look a certain way, but he's not like that. Trust me, I've known him for a long, long time. That's not his character. And it isn't. I'm not going to start anything with somebody. I'm not going to fight over a woman. You know what I mean? But I'll fight over somebody else, meaning that if you bring harm to my loved ones, I'm going to get you. I'm not Superman, but you're going to feel like Superman was up in your ass. Excuse my French. But for me, you might be able to get away with smacking me and cussing me and whatever. It don't matter. I'm cool most of the time. But if I see somebody disrespect a sister or a sister of a friend or a daughter of a friend, I don't disrespect people in my circle. I don't do that. I'm not slimy that way. But that's a whole different subject about integrity. Out in the street, it's on. But anyway, my other friend who used to ride the bus, and we were speaking about the bag, and I've said this before, I'm going to say it quick. Now, let me not have a, right, Giant Game, a Mike Tyson moment. He was a statistician. Kevin, look at me. Don't start. Maybe I used to be a little bit. I don't know. But, you know, we get older and we get a little more wisdom. But like I said, if there was a book written about me, you better write a few chapters to make sure, because nobody has more perspective on my life. You knew my parents. God rest their soul. I know your parents. God rest it. We know a lot about it. We go back. We got some, look, a day usually doesn't go by unless I'm busy. We're not texting jokes and voicemails. I think we run up more voicemails on WhatsApp than anybody else. You know what I mean? And that's the thread that keeps my mental fabric together. When you can go way back with someone and they know the little things about you, and you could joke about it. You see what I mean? But back to the statistician who rode my bus. He was blackballed in the corporate world because he wouldn't lie about certain stats in the corporate world to boost up the illusion of sales. And he's an older guy back then. So they weren't so much into the computers way back. And this man used to make money. Make a long story short, at that time, I think it was 2016 when he told me this, but for those of us who are ageable, that's the other day. And he said that the 2016 dollar is only 13 cents of the 1973 dollar. 13 cents. So while we make more money on paper, the effectiveness of it is greatly reduced. So let me ask you something. If that was in 2016 and it was 13 cents of the that was a powerful dollar back in 1973. And I believe that's the time when Richard Nixon brought into play the whole petrodollar thing. But now it's 13 cents of it. That was what, 7 years ago when he said that. What is it now? 9 cents, 8 cents? So this is why it doesn't seem like we can go to the store and buy as much as it used. My mother used to take far less money. If it was 30 or 40 or $50, it might not have been that much. And come out with 2 shopping carts. We didn't have to go shopping all the time back in those days. If anything, ketchup runs out or mustard runs out or cooking oil or something, you go back to the store, you get something real quick, something to drink. Hey, I don't want to drink any orange juice tonight. Let me go get some cranberry juice. You know what I mean? But it wasn't where you spend out and you're saying to yourself and looking up on your cupboards and saying, where's my money going to? It's because you, going according to 2016, you got 13 cents in your pocket and you think it's $1. How about that? We argue over so many superficial things. We're caught up in the celebrities and what they're doing. They got their money. They sold their soul. They've compromised. They got it made as long as they follow the contract that they wrote in blood. But those of us working Joes out here, we don't realize how we're getting ripped off, but we're chasing the bag. And like I always say, it's not how much you make, it's what you don't spend. Now, bring that on back. The title of this episode, and so much time is going on, and I've been rambling. I said I'll keep it to an hour, but it's already 25 minutes in. Oh, man, I'm going to be running my mouth and up late. But that's okay, because I love all of you, and I love what I do. And I want to thank you all for giving me, I mean, I have life. But it's like, you like to catch up on the hamburger. You know, I don't eat hamburgers, ham, or what, beef. But I still remember, who wants to eat a dry hamburger with no ketchup or maybe a little mayonnaise on it? So you all are the ketchup and the mayonnaise. I look forward to this every single day. I'm an older guy. I still got a little juice in my fruit, for sure. But it makes every day joyous for me to be able to communicate. We rally around each other and share our ideas. Peaceful Pulley, how are you? Landon Price, how are you too? Yvonne, I'm glad you're here. Oshira Peace. Everybody else, I already acknowledge you. I'm not going to say the name twice. Now, I'm going to rant on. If I miss somebody, I'm not ignoring you. But get in the bag. We're so focused on, and this is what I noticed, getting the bag, but we don't have that pride of workmanship. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be a person laying tile like Gino used to do excellently, but he was a craftsman. And he had pride. And those old Italian masons that he learned from had pride. They weren't going for it to be less than perfect. And they would be spend extra time to make it right, but they did it right from the beginning. Now, and we're not just talking about tile work, we're just talking about integrity altogether. When you hire somebody to do work, whether it's electrical work or plumbing work or masonry work or carpentry, and it doesn't have to be in the building arena. You could be in the corporate world. You could be an educator. It doesn't matter what you do. You can be a person who's a cashier at McDonald's. We're talking about taking pride in your work while you're there. Your job really doesn't define you. You define the job. And you can bring something to the job when you strive for personal satisfaction to get it right over public acknowledgement. See, we want to get the rave reviews when it's time to get that quarterly or twice a year review. We sit down with the supervisor or admin and they go down the list and they tell you the things that they like and they tell you the things that you have to be improved on. And most often we don't like it. They throw us pennies, especially if we know we're doing a good job. But there's so many people out here who are cheating the system, who do bare minimum, who don't care, who don't take personal pride in their workmanship. Hell, some of them don't even take personal pride in their own damn appearance. You know, I'm going to get those who sag their pants. But one day I was walking down the street in Orlando, Florida. I forgot exactly. It was off of Colonial Drive. And I think it was it? No, it wasn't Pine Hills Road. God, I forgot what street that is. I'm seeing it in my mind. But it wasn't too far from where I lived. And I'm walking down the street. I see this guy sagging his pants. Now, I'm not one to turn around and look at some man's backside. You might have to have a different set of genitalia to make me do that. But these days, we don't know now, do we? We don't know what we're looking at. But something told me to turn around. And it wasn't some twisted whatever. I turned around and looked at him. The man had one big streak up the middle of his pants in the backside. The dude straight doodled in his pants and was walking down the street eating the ice cream cone like it was all right. What happened to personal and the integrity, the standard, the pride, the personal satisfaction of knowing that you've done your best? What happened to that? Kudos to those who still hold that standard. But I remember back in the day, and I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. Ain't nothing wrong with speaking on your experiences. I remember, different age groups and stuff like that, but I remember the times when we were coming up, young men, if they had a party to go to or a function to go to, or they were taking a young lady out on a date, the ritual of grooming and getting yourself ready for that date began not just that morning, but sometimes days before. But let's just say that morning. You got up. You took care of things in the home that you had to take care of. And then you went out. First thing, you got your hair trimmed. Maybe you did that the day before, maybe Friday. You don't want to wait until the last minute and your favorite barber who knows how you like your hair cut isn't there. So yeah, granted, you might do that the day or two before. And then you came back and you looked through your wardrobe to see if there's something that would be appropriate for that particular date or function. You gave yourself enough time. If you didn't have what was appropriate, which you probably looked through the day before also, you went on to get the appropriate outfit that would fit the occasion. I have to say, I'm going to blow you up, Kevin Clark. I learned so much about dressing through you. And God rest his soul, your older brother, I'm not going to say his name unless you put his name down there out of respect, who is a master of all things culture, all things dressing and manners and how to shave and how to be a man on a different level, an exemplary man. And that's what we need more of in our community, right? So by the time you got everything, you had your hair trimmed, you got your wardrobe together. If you had a vehicle, you were going to have it washed and detailed. You were ready, and you had to be ready long before the date was on. And you took pride in yourself, personal satisfaction. What happened to that now? For the men and the women, I'm not going to say it's just the younger folks, but it is a lot of the younger generations coming up, because overall, there's so much buffoonery. We have so many different platforms of social media, ways to communicate. You mean we can't learn from what we see? Yes, she was also, I'm sorry for forgetting, she was. Oh man, this is a bloodline thing. It was in his family. And I learned just from being around them. His older brothers and sisters. She was, when she stepped down the street, respectfully. She didn't dress in a disrespectful way. She was very much a lady and very much alive right now. And she made sure down to the last detail, going to work and just being around. Now there's times I'm over my friend's Kevin's house, and she might have a robe on and she's resting or whatever. I mean, you're not going to just, but when she step out the door, oh man. And when I say, oh man, he knows it wasn't a lust thing because it wasn't anything exposed. It wasn't anything too tight. And she had a very beautiful shape. I say respectfully. Her hair was done. The perfume was right. It was like, wow. And so when I would go to the High School of Art and Design in the morning time on the A train and I would see her, if she was by herself, I'd sit near her. If she had a girlfriend and they were talking girl talk, now she wasn't a girl, she's a woman, but the phrase. I would sit nearby. And I was waiting. I said, if anybody disrespects her, they're going to get it from me. But nothing ever happened. It's a beautiful thing when you have examples in your midst in the community, especially when it comes to being a lady. They don't make them like that anymore. And it goes up the bloodline to Kevin's parents. God rest their soul. They raised a phenomenal family, and they were part of the community that I grew up in. And there's other people that we're going to talk about, right? Integrity, personal satisfaction, stepping up to the plate when you see somebody not doing what's right. You know what I mean? Like that's so important. And so we were good kids. We did crazy little things and stuff. You know my background, but I never hurt nobody. I never tried to rob somebody's house. I could never see somebody do something to an old lady or anybody around me. I'm going to jump in. I won't reveal too much, but there was integrity all around us. More of that than less. Now, in 2023, what do we have? More of the other. It's almost looked down on in this society. They talk about not snitching, that you can peek out your window in this day and age and see your neighbor's house getting burglarized and not say anything. Well, it's not my business. It's nothing that I got to worry about. I got my TV in the back of the day, VCR. We don't have VCRs no more, right? But I got mine. Before, most people would come out, hey, what are you doing? You don't belong there. Get out of there. And that was the kind of man that Kevin's father, I say it in the present tense, is, because his energy is still in existence. He transitioned, God rest his soul, but is, because it lives on in Kevin right now. Yes, we were raised the right way. And other people's parents or other adults you don't even know might correct you. It's like Junior, another one who transitioned, God rest his soul. One day we were out somewhere and I was making fun of this guy. He was intoxicated and he was known to be in the neighborhood to be somebody who was kind of always intoxicated. And I used to always joke around. I'm saying this in front of Kevin because he knows. I was a big Muhammad Ali fan. We all were. So I would talk like him all the time. And so the guy was slurring his words. And I wasn't trying to be venomous, but I'm like, speak right, man. What are you talking about, man? You mean I knocked you over the head so hard? Whatever. And Junior came in and said, hey, listen, he's older than us. And he's the guy that Junior was the one that owned the gym that I first started competing out of. He said, listen, that's a grown man. You're supposed to give him respect. That's a grown man. That's not right. Don't do that. It caught me. He was right. Yeah, that's right. He said, that's a grown man that's disrespectful. This is way back in the late 70s, right? And I didn't say, F you. You can't tell me nothing. I say what I want. No. I was a decent kid. It humbled me. You're right. And I said, sorry. And we have lots of instances where our elders, even if they're just a couple years older than us, and even on standing on righteousness, an elder can be someone who's chronologically younger. I'm 60 years old. There's dudes that tell me things at 45 and 38. That's truth, and I have to submit to that. That's another level of growth, maturity, and understanding. But we learned a lot, and we learned how to be men, not males. There's a few who didn't. But now that seems to be the majority, and it seems to be the norm. And I don't like it. It has taken away the joy of what I look forward to when I got older. We all look forward to having that time where the sun shines so bright when we were younger, but the world changes now. And it's changed. So this is why I cling on to my brothers and sisters who I've known, who know that world, because as long as you can remember it and talk about it, it's always going to be alive inside of you. So people can say, hey, you're talking about that old stuff and the old music. Well, let us have that. Because chances are what we enjoyed back then is a whole lot sweeter than the filth and foolishness that's going on now. You see what I mean? Yeah, we went up in places sometimes, establishments that, you know, we wanted to see things, but we never bothered nobody. Oh man, did you see her? Yeah, man. Where'd y'all go? Oh, we just went to the park. Good, clean fun, but we were good kids, right? They grew up to be good men. I'm a little cuckoo every now and then, but I don't think I'm that off. Pazzle 360, how are you doing? Yes, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. But personal satisfaction and pride in who we are. And when it comes to employment, working, making money, being on these jobs, whether you're on a job or you're self-employed. I mean, it was a different day back then. We make a joke about that, Kevin. I used to always make a joke. One time I was going to take a girl out on a date, and the first thing out of her mouth when the girl brought me in to meet her mother, I think the father was at work. She looked me up and down. Young man, where are you employed? He was making sure. Not that I look like a drug dealer. And I don't think at that time that was something that's prevalent because, you know, crack came around 83, around in that time, more or less, depending on what part of the country you were in. That whole mentality and the trauma we endured in the Black community and across the country, in the world, you know, we weren't ready for that. And that helped to destroy the generation I came up in. You know, there's an older woman that I know. I got to reach out to her. I haven't spoken to her in a long time. I'll call her name, Sister Sally. You remember Sister Sally, Kevin? You never met her because I knew her in Florida, but we would talk about her. And she was in the 80s when I got to know her, driving and getting around, bright and everything, you know? And so she would always say a lot of things that stuck with me. A lot of things. And she was always on point and was always respectful. And she might crack a little halfway adult joke, and I'll chuckle like I was shamed, a little embarrassed. Now, y'all know, if you listen to the comedy shows that I do, I'm off the chain, but you have to show respect. But most of us want public acknowledgement, right? But it should be personal satisfaction over a public acknowledgement. But now it's public acknowledgement over personal satisfaction. When I say satisfaction, I'm not saying personal satisfaction. Like, oh, man, I had 5 orgasms last night. We're not talking about that. Anybody can have a sensuous reaction to glorified friction providers. We all do. How long has it been since you had your last orgasm? For some people, it's 5 minutes ago. For some, it's 10 years ago. Feel sorry for you. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those who want the acknowledgement of being one who has integrity and work ethic, but they ain't doing a damn thing. Denise Horn, I was away from the phone. I saw you call me. I'm 5 hours ahead of you, but after this, give me about 15 minutes after the show, and I'm going to give you a call. I owe you a phone call for a long time. Good friend of mine from Florida. Good woman you are. Denise Horn, in the house. But anyway, we see social media. We don't want to put the work in. I'm not saying everybody. I'm not boosting myself, but I kind of think I kind of sort of put my little work in on my hobby here, right? And I want to do more. So much more, not even just because of what's online, or I talk a lot. I always talked a lot. I talk in my sleep. But I've committed to myself to make myself better. See, we come in as a blank slate, like a blackboard that was freshly erased and wiped down. You know, when you're in school, the monitor, the blackboard monitor, at the end of the period, you got to get the sponge in the water. You got to erase it first and leave it clean for the next class to come in and use. But we come in as a clean slate, but with life, which we don't know what's going to come. We take the bumps and the bruises in our psyche, in our spirit, in our soul, and sometimes on our body. Yeah, man, back in 1979, I got hit by the car. You see this big scar? Not me, I'm just using that as an example. Yes, greetings from Washington. Reese, how are you? Yes. Yeah. You know what, Denise? Still doing it from back then. It's just part of me. I just love it. And I'm going to open up other areas of creativity and expression and go full time with it, you know? So I appreciate everybody sharing and liking and all, even the donations, whatever, which I'm not out here like, you know, I need it, but I got too much. I can't do that. I'd rather you see through my work ethic. See, because that can be transferred. But these days, we work hard to look like the real thing, but we don't work hard to be the real thing. If I'm a man who's a craftsman, let's just make this up, but I made this example up many times before over the years on this particular platform. If you make with your hands good shoes, most of us go into the mall or go somewhere and order them or whatever. I told Kevin got a dope shoe collection too. I'm blowing you up here. Yeah. But if you make shoes with your hands and you're a craftsman or craftswoman, when I say man, I mean woman. You could be a woman, let's not even say man. You could be a woman in a bakery that you own and you bake cakes. But you take time and you know the science of making this cake. And if every one to you is its own entity, it's not a cookie cutter thing for you. As they say in the Black community, I don't know if it's beyond, you put your foot in it. And when they eat it, oh my God, you put your foot in this. Which for those who don't know means you did this, you created this thing with love. With love. Right? And you have another person who goes on and acts like a professional. I'm not knocking Duncan Hines or Betty Crocker. But when you go to a bakery, you ain't looking for that because you can do that yourself. But I've known a person who had a bakery. And they were telling me the science of butter. The science of butter? They didn't say it like that, the science of butter. They were just telling me about the different types of butter that you use. You don't want to use that brand. You want to use this brand. And I bring this in from another country, this particular type of butter. I don't know where to go get it. And then you got to do this and you have to do that. It's like, whoa, just for a cake? And how they made their own frosting. And it had to have a certain amount of sugar, but not too much. And it was like, you don't want the icing to dominate the flavor of the cake. You want it to work along with the cake. This is why I like to listen to people who do things. They may not be college educated. They may not be degreed, but they know what they're doing. And they get a personal satisfaction from doing a great job. They go above and beyond. But it seems like everybody's trying to get over to do less and get paid more. Integrity, workmanship, hard work, dedication, like Floyd Mayweather says, hey, like him or not, I got a few bones to pick with him on things outside of the ring. But as a fighter, he did work hard. I never saw out of shape Floyd Mayweather. I never saw, he knew the rules. He did some things in the ring that were within the rules, but he did it. And he's undefeated. How many of us are undefeated in this life? Meaning that the moment we slack is when we take a loss. I'm not talking about the loss of a loved one, the loss of this or that. I'm talking about just with what we do. And when we have a reputation, we can't ride off of that reputation. Much is expected of us. Yes, I am Pazzle 360. I'm still out here. We're broadcasting from out here, but it's just the same as when I was on the East Coast. That's where I started. That's where the time and everything will be, unless I happen to get up in the middle of the night, take a leak and say, let me go live. And so I haven't been doing set times, but pretty much when I wake up and before I go to bed. And sometimes in the middle, if I get footage outside, I'll throw that up too. Just keep my hands moving, right? Time management, to make myself better. You see what I mean? So, oh, I didn't see this, Denise. I need to find why scammers go on Facebook page and take somebody's photo off their page. Sends the threatened messages to someone's child about, oh man, that's terrible. You got to tell me about that. Yeah, there's all kinds of things going on. I had it where maybe some of you might remember, it's a couple of years ago. I think it was like back, maybe like, how long ago? Maybe like 6 years ago. I was doing a live stream. And all of a sudden, I'm not looking at the chat room. I wasn't typing anything in. And everybody could see that. All of a sudden, this person with my avatar that you see here in the upper left-hand corner, my little logo, it became my logo. It popped up and it said Lancescurv. But it wasn't spelled the same way. It might have been Lancescurv and an underscore. Lance.scurv or underscore Lancescurv. Just a minor difference. And people look at it and they think it's me. The avatar's there, the name is there. Changed over a little bit. So this Lancescurv character that made a dummy profile to look like mine started talking to the women all up under their clothes. It was crazy. But because of my reputation, they knew that wasn't me. First, they see me on the screen. I'm talking, I'm not typing. But even if I was typing, they knew that was not me because of my reputation. And I can tell some hellified dirty jokes. But I would not do that. I mean, they were typing some things in that chat room. I'm like, oh man, all of a sudden, 2 or 3 more came. It was about 10 different Lancescurvs. They kind of, I forgot what the name was with that, where they gang up on you, a bunch of people, usually little crazy white boys, and they start harassing. And the people were like, and I started deleting. I was like, yo, let me stop talking for a second. And they're like, Lance, we know that's not you. You know what I mean? And it felt good to me that they knew my character, right? They knew how I approach things. I have private conversations. People tell me different things. I don't spread people's business. I don't, and whatever I do in my personal life is my business. But that wasn't me. So your image, your work ethic, your integrity, your attention to detail, and the pride that you take. Everybody knows my father had his own little business. It wasn't something big. And he was getting to be an older man. But he would refinish floors and landmark properties where you had to know the proper stain in the wood that you did. He did the regular stuff too. But there were only a handful of people who could actually work on those landmark properties, refinishing these floors that look weathered. You could not alter or change the look. I learned a lot about that business, but when you grow up in something, sometimes you don't like it. And I remember one time, I would stay with him on Friday night, Saturday night sometime. My parents were together, but because of the nature of his work, it's not like my mother's going to come along. You know what I mean? And summer vacation, I was with him all the time, coming to Manhattan from young. That's how I learned the city so much and so well. But I remember one night, and I think this is why I like to stay up late sometimes, even though I'm trying my best to wake up early. But to wake up early, you got to get to bed early, right? So we left this particular job, and it wasn't in a landmark property, but he remembered that there was something that he overlooked. and we were almost home. This apartment was empty. It was a penthouse apartment. It was one of his clients that whatever properties he had, he would always have my father do the floors. So he knew me well. And he would say, for us to get to the next phase tomorrow, we have to have this phase right. I got to go back. And I'm looking at him like, Daddy. We left there at 2, and it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. He's like, I don't care. We got to go back. Because if we go tomorrow to do what I thought I forgot, we have to wait a whole other day when I correct it. We're almost home. If you want to go home, go home. But you got to understand, I have a reputation, and people expect a certain standard out of me. It's not just about money and public acknowledgement to say, oh, yes, I'm so good, I'm so good, I'm so good, and you don't deliver, and people don't call you back. He said, you see these rings of keys that I have? We only need 2 or 3 keys for the house that we live in. But all of these keys are from people pretty much that have lots of money, which it doesn't matter, but they trust me. Sometimes I don't even have a job that I'm doing at their premises, but they say, Lance, you know, we always compensate you. Looking out for you. We're out here. We're in Italy right now on vacation in our other home. Could you please go by the house and make sure that the kittens are fed? Because the lady that usually goes to do it, she had a stroke. My father said, no problem. So there was that trust. They knew his integrity. They knew that it wasn't just about the money or getting the bag. It was about his reputation. So that rubbed off on me in certain areas. I mean, back in the day, I couldn't say no to these old girlfriends and whatever when I was a young man. But other than that, just like my friend here and brother here, Kevin Clark, would say to that gentleman who was scared of me coming up there to do something to him, he would not do that because he knows the integrity that I have. Now, when I was real young, I punched a couple people in the face. Shouldn't have done it. Real young. But I don't do that. We all do things when we're young. I put my stuff out on Front Street. I can say it here clear in front of everybody. You're not going to have somebody come and say, oh, Lance, you lying. You didn't do that. There's a whole lot of things I did that you don't know, but you're not going to hear me up here lying. All I'm saying is that what happened to the world? What happened? And I'm not saying anybody here in the chat room, but what happened to us? What happened to us that would hold people to task when they would deliver a subpar performance, not just with work and making money, but how you treat each other? Like Junior, God rest his soul, who owned the gym. He was a buddy to us, but when it came time, if we stepped out of line slightly, just like when I was making fun of that drunk man, and I wasn't venomous with it. I was always a clown cracking jokes, and he straightened me out. That's disrespectful. He's a grown man. He's older than you. And I was under 18. So I had to accept it, even if I was over 18, even if I was older than all of them. The problem with us now, we don't take correction well. We're pompous, got our butts on our shoulders. We think we're running things when we're not. When was the last time you told your heart to beat? You don't have a say-so in that. If your heart decides to stop beating, you can't do a damn thing. Show you how much power you got. Man, I got this big pension, and I got these guns, and everybody, people are scared of me, and your heart stopped, and you can't do a damn thing about it. When you go to bed, is there a battery or a button that says breathe for the next hour or next 8 hours? No. You go to sleep, and you breathe, and you wake up. Did you control your breathing? No. So we got to humble ourselves. And it doesn't mean when I say humble, like we get smacked in the head and don't know. We all got balls as men, and women have symbolic balls, meaning that's where testosterone comes from. That's where the aggression comes from. Not aggression out of control, but hey, Every animal out in the wild. And I'm out here in Africa, up in the mountains. That's all folks need to know. Because there's a lot of mountains out in Africa. You know the country. But every bug, every animal that I see has a means of defending itself, bar none. And if you don't see that means of how to defend themselves, they got something for you whether you know it or not, right? Just the other day, I was talking to my electrician, and he went outside first because he was going to take me somewhere, and I had to run back inside for the wallet. And I put the picture, I believe, up in the community section here on this channel. If you scroll down enough, you might see it. They saw a snake, a very long snake, and it wasn't full grown. It was a python. It wasn't some garden snake or whatever. It was a python. And I'm ignorant to what snakes can do, but I know there's some snakes around here. If they bite you, you got 45 minutes to get somewhere to get the antidote, or you out of here. So when doing yard work, you wear those big, rubbery, loose, galasha-like, whatever. You know when you go to the fish market and you look behind the counter and the guys that are cleaning the fish and there's always a water hose and it smells like fish. That's to keep the water from, they're not going to wear like flats. They're not going to wear, slippers. Their feet are going to be wet. And the place is going to stink more. Well, that's what they wear out here when they go out where it's real bushes and stuff. So if something slides up around their ankle and bites them, it won't get through. So I found out that the python's venom won't kill you. It may make you sick, but it's that king cobra. That's the one. And guess what? They out here. Now, do I go walking around in the bushes in the back? I have a sizable yard now. And it's real dark. The floodlights hit the surface plants, but way deep, 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 the light doesn't permeate that. You think I'm going back there? No way. I got sense. But like I said before, you have to know. Like we all say between me and Kevin, a man's got to know his limitations. But all in all, we're regressing as a society. And as far as black people are concerned, I always spank them righteously, but I got to tell it. We didn't do our own people like that years ago when others were really doing it to us in our face. You see what I mean? We wouldn't just slow down and let some older woman get robbed, get knocked down. Let me tell you something. In Queens, when I used to drive a dollar van, I left my job to do that because that was a lot of money at that time. I couldn't believe it. So these guys going up and down. That's why the vans are so nice. I got a crap load of stories to tell you about human nature as far as that's concerned, right? But we were driving up. I was driving the van. I had a full load. So I was heading up straight up to Sutphin Boulevard, the Parsons Boulevard, and the 165th if you wanted me to. This was the rush hour in the morning time. And so when you drive the van, you got to get up early. I was usually in the street from 4:45 a.m. You pick up that first load. They're not all standing there as a big crowd. You see one down the block, you go down there, you pick this one up, you pick that one up. The trick is driving the van, just as a side note, is that your rush hour is a window of opportunity. That you want to get a load from down where the houses are on your particular route to get them to the subway, not reckless, but swiftly and as fast as you can. It's like one big video game. There might be a car accident in front of you. You can go around the block. The bus has to sit there. You see? Once you drop the load off, you get back down as fast as you can. You don't stop and say, let me eat breakfast. Well, at the end of the rush hour, you're not going to have any money. You see? So at first, I didn't master that. So after a while, I was one of the best. Not better than anybody, but they're like, yo, and the work ethic that kicks in. I always had good work ethic if it's something I wanted to do. I'm a monster that way. I'm going to keep going when others say I can't do it. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. You see? So I mastered that, made good money, even on days that I designated as being off. Guys would call me from the road. Hey, Lance, man, this road is good, man. There's a lot of people out here that need to be picked up. I'm like, all right, I'm coming out. That's the way I was. But this one morning, I'm driving up Lincoln Street from Rockaway Boulevard, part of the Q9 route, which was 1 block away from me. And I could tell it now because I'm not there. I lived on 134th Street, and that route eventually went up 135th. I'm coming up on 135th Street from 111th Avenue toward 109th Avenue. And Kevin, right over there by Teddy Frazier's house, there was a young guy who knocked this woman down and took her purse right in front of our very eyes. And my van was a 7-passenger van. A passenger next to me in the front and 2 bench seats that held 3 people each. So it was 7 passengers. It didn't count me. When every man on that van, because it was 7 men, some were dressed for construction, some you could tell with the suit, tie, and blazer, they were in the corporate world. I got to know most of the people in the extended neighborhood because that's the neighborhood I grew up in. And, oh, Denise, it's scurvmedia@gmail.com. Scurv with no E after the V. I think it's in the description area below of YouTube, but I will, and I thank you so much for that. Let me just type it in just to make sure, because, you know, what I won't want you to do is send it to somebody else. You know what I mean? I made a mistake out here and did that in the system that's here, and I'll tell about that. That's a long story, but I'll tell about that. You got to be careful. That's my Zelle right there. I don't know if you need anything else, but that's it right there. That's the email that goes along directly to my Zelle. But it almost brought tears to my eyes that I got to the stop sign, and without even asking, these black men, all of them black men, the same black men that are demonized in the media, the same that are demonized by, unfortunately, some of our sisters who are foolish enough to make it seem like we're all bad. Just the same way there are brothers who make it seem like black women are all bad. Look, we may have our issues sometime because it's not an easy world to live in. But I know, just like Kevin's parents, my parents got arrested. So our community, we had some good examples of womanhood and manhood and relationships. If getting up and exploring the world, we dipped and did some things younger, and we, you know, that's life. But we had a solid foundation. Thank you so much. Yeah, the coffee thing is easier, I think. But you know, Big Genre Faves has been putting the links and stuff up there. And that's cool. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It really makes a difference because now I'm on a limited income. And all this equipment is getting dust and getting age, and, you know, but it is, you know, I'll put the work in. And again, for anybody out here, if there's somebody worthwhile that you want to have come on the platform, fine. If you got something worthwhile to say, a story to tell, but it's got to be worthwhile. It can't be these weirdo entities that want to clog your system up. You ever see the plane that goes up and all the birds get caught in the engine? The plane might have to land. When you're doing something, sometime you attract these negative entities with smiling faces. Everybody here is cool tonight. And y'all don't know what I have to go through dealing with that, because I've been doing this for a number of years on so many different fronts. But back to the story. It brought tears to my eyes when my van emptied out. And the dude who was dressed in jeans and work boots and had his hard hat and his vest on ran just as hard as the corporate dude who didn't care about his outfit. They cared about that woman they saw that they could have said, oh, she's some more. That does. Oh, the guy's gone. They chased this guy all the way from 135th Street and 109th Avenue and caught him around the corner on the Van Wyck Expressway right there on 109th. They got him. They got him. But they realized he was very young and he was crying hard. He said, please let me explain. And these brothers had the wherewithal to understand that there was more to this story. And what was the rest of the story? Well, they already got him. They already called the cops. I happened to know that kid, and I didn't realize it was him. I was like, wait a second. No, he wouldn't do anything like that. Come to find out that there was some older guy, and I'm not saying older like, 40s and 50s and 60s, might have been like late 20s, early 30s, because this kid was only 15, 16 years old, but he was a big kid. And this man walked up to him and flashed a gun and said, I'm going to kill you if you don't go over there and snatch that woman's purse. And when he knocked her down, it's really that he lost his balance and knocked her down. So he had the person running and he ran with it, but he threw it down and kept running. So he really didn't want it. And I know his father, I know him. And so those guys paid already. So I had other vans. I gave them the money I was going to make from that load. I said, bring them up. One guy's like, no, I'm going to call him from work, man. I'm going to make sure that everything is all right in this situation. Two guys stayed back. The other ones had to go. I had no problem with that. They gave their numbers so when the cops come, they can call them as a witness. Integrity. That could have been their mother out there. That could have been their grandmother out there. That could have been their daughter out there. That could have been their wife. Huh? What happened to the cohesiveness that we used to have in community? Even sometimes you're not really talking to a neighbor and getting along, you're still looked out. You're still looked out. The personal satisfaction of knowing that you're operating at the highest vibration that you can possibly vibrate on because you're seeking to improve yourself with every passing day. But no, we want to harbor 7 deadly sins, lustfulness, lust. And lust doesn't mean just sex, y'all. You could be lusting for power. You could be lusting after somebody's car, right? The envy, the gossip, bringing false witness, all of that stuff. That's not one of the 7 deadly sins, but, we harbor these things on the inside. We don't seek to improve, and we always show ourselves up because we want to look good. We want to say the right words. And this is why social media is a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword because we can create the image that we want. But look at this. Look at Denise Horn, who I've known for so long. Look at Kevin Clark, who I've known for so long, looking in their eyes. Others who have been online on my journey with me that they can come on and say, hey, I haven't seen you for a long time. It's been a long time. Isn't that something? Just like Pazzle 360, been a long time. Hey, Lance. I love this. This has been, I won't say substitute because this has become real because we know these days we do the cyberspace thing. For people who are maybe older, who don't adapt, I don't mess around with that. There was a time when a lot of people didn't want to even pay their bills online. They might take my money. Is this secure? And they've learned that pretty much you have scammers, but it's pretty safe. You have to be alert though. So this is the way of the modern day. And with that, and with those conveniences comes the dark side. Like when we say the dark web, there are entities out here who don't have that integrity and they will try their best to rip you off. Sometimes they're people you know, and sometimes it's people you don't know. They don't want to work. They don't want to do the right thing. So they just look to just devour. And you got to be careful with that. But what happened to the world that we live in? Where we live in this fraudulent way where we all want to be perfect. If you look at my neck, I got a couple of little razor bumps there. I think I took 2 or 3 away. I'm going to admit that, right? But that's me. You see me on the live videos. I don't change my appearance. I let my mustache go a little closer to my nose now. If Younger folks, man, what you trying to do, man? You little pencil, whatever. That's all played out. Get tired of hearing that. I said, okay, I'm gonna grow it in a little more. Thank you, Kofi. It's good to see you here. Good to see you here, seriously. So this has not become a substitute community. This is an extension of my real life community. Whether I've seen you face to face or not, at least we can have a compartmentalized place where we have some integrity and respect. Now, I know you go on other platforms. We have to. You know, look, if I had a store in the mall, a little shop in the mall, I wouldn't get mad if you went to the other shop. If I just sold shoes, I can't get mad if you go to the food court. I can't get mad if you go to buy a dress. I don't sell dresses. I don't sell food. But when you come around and you want what I have or the flavor of what I have, and sometimes you don't have the time. Yo, Lance, man, you're doing too many videos, man. I can't catch up. I'm good. I'm laughing at that. Because when you leave the restaurant, you want to leave full. Successful restaurants, you always have a doggy bag. Man, that food was good. I ate so much, but I don't know if I can kill that last plate. That's what they want. And then 2 minutes go by and you try to stuff another bite because the food was so good. So I'm not going to do a show once a week. I'm going to keep it coming. If I got the time, I'm going to do it. And I got the time now. Personal satisfaction over public acknowledgement. I'm not here just to be liked because I'm going to speak truth and it's going to step on people's toes sometime. I mean, YouTube has me shadow banned. They're removing subscribers. I thought it was getting better, but it's gotten worse. Lance, I was looking for your stuff, man, but I can't find it. I know I'm subscribed to you, so I punched in the name, went directly to your stuff, and I see that I'm unsubscribed. I said, that's what they're doing. Because if I had a mini skirt on and a wig and some lipstick and some makeup and some eyelashes looking like spiders on my eyes or electrical tape, this is the Lancescurv Show. Thank you for being here. We're tolerant of all things. No, see, if I was like that, shoot. That'd be a couple million subscribers because this society has changed. Now, I'm not knocking what you do behind closed doors. Do what you do. You do what you do and I do what I do. Do I do? I love you. Who made that? Was Stevie Wonder? What happened to those days? Even when music was music. And the musicians played real instruments. And you had real live concerts because they were masters of their craft. And to watch them do what they do was something that left you in amazement. Isn't that something? What happened? What in the hell happened? What happened to the old school restaurants that took pride in how they not only made the food, but how they presented it? And the waiters and waitresses that had a level of professionalism and just didn't toss stuff around. They made sure your cup was always filled. They made sure, even if they didn't feel good, to have a smile on their face. And oftentimes they knew your name. Used to be a time where we go to the bank and the tellers all knew our name. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came. I can tell the dirty joke on that one, right? No, but you wanna be somewhere where you feel a part of it. It used to be where maybe a mile or two away from where I lived, or 3, or maybe more. In my neighborhood growing up, Kevin can tell you that we felt at home already because we knew the people. We knew the community. There were some bad apples there, but we knew them. That's Mr. So-and-so, and that's what he does for a living. And you 2-3 miles from your house, you knowing everybody. Now, you have a next door neighbor, you don't even know them anymore. You see them, you might wave, and one night you see the cops out in front of his house. What happened? Oh, he killed his family. What the hell? You know what I mean? You just don't know. But in public, we all look good. We all dress up to take the right pictures. We all go, I'm not saying we all do this, but I've caught people in the mall parking lot leaning up against an expensive luxury car and having a friend take pictures, and it later on becomes the banner on their Facebook page to give the image that I'm driving a Lamborghini. There's so many ways to become fraudulent now. You have AI. AI can change your face and make it, or what they would say, they wouldn't say this, but perfect it. There's a young lady I know that there are things that she wanted to correct about her look. I wouldn't say anything bad about her. She's a sweetheart. And when I saw the photo, I'm like, that looks like, but who is that? It was her. Thank you, the bitter man. Thank you. I'm glad you feel that way. And if there's anything I can do to improve, or stuff you want me to talk about, not like I'm some all-seeing, knowing, whatever, you know, but I'm going to run my mouth. I'm going to run it into the ground until we through with that topic. And if it's not enough, we're going to come back again under a different title and continue the same topic. Attention to the craft. I'm not going to half-ass it. They already come in hits and keep things from going out. They don't suggest as many things in the sidebar. Let me tell you something. And next time I'll pull it up on the screen. Depends on what episode. But I have a thing that shows analytics. Maybe I'll drop it in the community section to show you. So out of an ever-diminishing 117,000 plus followers or subscribers, how many notifications go out? 15, 18, 9, a whopping 27. Why is that? Why? Am I talking about let's all get together and delete a certain race of people? I know how to say things without saying it, but is that the mainstay of what I say? I know I can be fiery, and the older stuff is fiery, and some new stuff is going to be fiery, but because of censorship, which is really say what we want you to say, you can't say, you talk about freedom of speech? What is it, a ghost now? Oh, you have freedom of speech, but you're not going to come on this platform and say what you want to say and influence anybody and resonate with them and get this influence on our platform. You better be safe, especially as a black man. You can talk about black women all day long and you'll be granted leniency. And your stuff will go out, right? So you got to say things a certain way. I'm cool with that because there's other things I do. And it's okay. I don't have to be known all over the world. I'm not looking for public acknowledgement that way. A compliment is nice and everything like that, but I'm going to do what I do. How much hits I got? I don't even check. If I check, it's to gauge how I'm reaching the people that do get down with me. But it's not like, well, I got to get a million hits, but I'm not doing good. The next guy's doing, no. And they try to discourage you, but you're not going to discourage me. I'm not made like that. I'm not built like that. I go against the odds. I know strength is in the mind. Everything you see out here in the world was a thought at one time. Somebody thought about it. And do you think they got it right the first time? No. It took time to develop it, to bring it to reality. So while I do what I do, I may check on the analytics and see how things stand, but it's not going to stop me. Nobody asked who wants to chop a tree down. Well, I'm going to chop this tree down, but how many chops do you think I have to do? Because I don't feel like doing it. No, you chop, you chop, you chop, you chop until it falls. You may have, oh, thank you, Denise. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're a sweetheart. Whether you gave the Cash App or not, you're a sweetheart. You know, we go way back. You and me, Denise, go a long way back. What happened to that good old cookout music, y'all? That's where I come from. Yeah, yeah, we go a long way back. This digital foolishness with no soul in it. No soul in it. Soul food, soul music. Who stole the soul? Now, just like Brother Neil Frazier's show, what did he say? What was it called? Digital Demons? Or something slick title he gave me. It's going to be on, what is it, 3 or 4? Because it's Central Daylight Savings Time. My perception, I'm over here in West Africa, so I'm 5 hours ahead now. And that 1 hour difference, man, that makes a difference. So if I want to do a night show, if I want to do a show 10 o'clock at night, 5 hours, I better start 3 o'clock in the morning. So what I'll be doing is kind of recording some things to put up at that time, to cover the whole time, because everybody's not up at the same time. Oh, yes, and a lot of fun. Yes, indeed. But yeah, I'm soon going to wrap it down. When I started, I said it wouldn't be long, but here I am at 100. And I know I'm getting tired now. An hour and 23 minutes. Because I'm coming right back as soon as I wake up. So it's not like, oh, he's cutting it short. We ain't going to see him for a week or two. No, I don't do that. There were times when it was getting kind of lean and I had other things to do. Look, it's not easy moving to another country, but that's neither here nor there. So now I can give a little more time. Give me just a little more time. And this platform will surely grow. Just come and just share, y'all. Hit the like button. I'm not saying to like me. If you don't like me, don't like me. But if you like the platform stuff, just when you come on in, just hit that button. It really helps with the algorithms. You know? And you got some people who don't even want to do that. I'm not begging. I'm just saying, hey, I put the time with this banner to come up with a topic. I got a crap load of content in my heart from experiences from which I can draw from. You throw up a topic, I can talk about it. I know that much or something about it. They got other great platforms out here other than me. So I'm not competing with nobody. But we got to build a community beyond just YouTube. There's Lancescurv.com, and I'm on all the podcasting platforms. So if I get knocked off here, you know, if they Malcolm X me or Martin Luther King Jr. me, as far as digital is concerned, I'm not saying in actuality, we don't want that. But there's other places to go where the work is. Let's just get down and do the right thing and keep the discussions going, bring the thought-provoking stuff, because we're lulled into a sleep these days, many of us, and the independent thought now is a crime. To think out of the box is a crime. Like I said many times before, I've noticed in schools, especially elementary schools, that first line of the outside world that many of our children had to go through. I'll say it. Elementary school way back in the day, it may not have been pristine. We know the agenda of certain people, but it was a whole lot better today. I mean, then than today, not today. Overcrowded, teachers who don't care. There were some teachers back in the day when I went to school that really cared. And they wanted to teach. And the students came from homes pretty much where there was concern about them learning. When they started to remove home economics, when they started to remove art, and I think sometimes they removed gym class, physical education. They didn't want us in shape. But home economics, for you to be young and to know how to handle yourself in the various categories of running a home. That's important. This is why we have to give our props to those who run a home. I grew up seeing mothers who stayed home because running a household was a lot harder than the man who may have gone out to do the job to get the money. You got to be up early before the children. You got to have their clothes ready. You got to have them washed if they're younger. You got to do all that. You got to make sure they have the nutrition. And oftentimes you might have to walk them to school if they didn't take a bus, or walk them to the bus stop. Now you're tired. You might have been up watching TV a little bit, your own little quiet time. Your husband, if you have one, or if not, you know, whatever. Like, okay, this is my time. And when it came your time, you were tired, but you eked out maybe a little TV show, phone call. But even after you dropped them off on the school bus, your job has just begun. You might lay down for 30 minutes, but you got to get up now and get their dinner ready. You had to pack their lunch, and they took the lunch. And don't let it be where you get a call from the school where your child is sick. You have to go. So now you're preparing, but you have housework to do. You got to clean up and vacuum and mop and wash the dishes and do all these things. So how can we don't have a respect for the housewives anymore, if there are any left, because now, like I said, the 2016 dollar is only 13 cents of the 1973 dollar. So usually the housewife now has to go out and work. And then when she has to go out and work, where the kid's going to go? The babysitter, if you don't have an extended family to look after the children. The nuclear family in the Black community is being destroyed because now we got to pay for everything, pay for the babysitter. Oh, we got to have somebody come by and help us. We got to pay them. Pay. And everything's expensive. And yes, we have certain families that may be subsidized by the government, but they're offering and telling you what to get. Well, you have these welfare vouchers to get all the dairy you want and clog up your system and have mucus and have sickness later on. They know what they're doing. It's from so many different angles. What happened to the families? What happened to the respect? What happened to all of that? The personal satisfaction that a housewife would get as a mother, as a wife, as a neighbor, as somebody who's doing a real job. Here in the motherland, they got their issues. They got a lot of issues here because the West is influencing the minds of those who had a system in place that brought up people very strong. They have their idea of what America is like, and usually it's off because they got that smartphone in their hand, which is dumbing them down. And their perceptions of America, it's heaven. I want to go there. I'm going to make all this money. Everybody's driving new cars, but see, these guys here don't understand about credit. When you get a car here, you got to pay cash. Unless you have a government job, and they ain't going to give you too much credit. And unless you're affluent, right? So there's a lot of things we got to learn. A lot of things we got to go back to. Because the way we're going now, no good. No good. We can't look at ourselves as a singular entity. We still have to see ourselves as a community. Because it's that mindset that's going to preserve us and keep us strong for our children, grandchildren, and even after we're gone. And I'm going to end on this. A good father, or let's just start with the bad father, the mentality. He's in the home, he's paying bills, but he has a bad mentality. And what is a bad mentality? Pompous, self-centered, and thinks he's running everything. Never gives the wife the respect that he comes home to a good meal, a clean home, clothes clean, orderly, folded away. She did that, usually when she's tired. Then you still want to come home and have the behind closed doors, after hours, festivities, and she might be dog tired and she still tightens you up. But the bad father will say, you all better be glad I'm here, because if something happened to me, you'll be up Craps Creek if I ain't here. What kind of way is that of thinking? See, the good father will say, listen, we all have to transition. And I'm a little older than you, so it might be me. It may not. A lot of us are burying our children. But it might be me. That being said, I want to set you all up, not just with an insurance check if something happens to me, but I want to impart and give you the wisdom that you're going to need to go on. I want to subsidize you with some property that, if not paid for, is damn near paid for. But I want to leave the system of my family so strong that if you remove me from the equation, they'll go on just as strong and snowball up and gain momentum and get stronger as time goes by, because I did a good job for all of you. I am just a part of this system, of our family, but I understand, an important part, but no better than your mother. No better than you, because you're the future. So that's the difference. A lot of us are walking around pumped up thinking, yeah, and they put you down in the ground just like anybody else, right? And 100 years from now, just like that meme I've been speaking about that's circulating on Facebook and Instagram, 100 years from now, most, we're not even going to be, our names are not going to even be mentioned. Lancescurv, who's that? He did what? Could you imagine the technology that's there if the world doesn't destroy itself now from the egocentric leaders and twisted demonic entities out here? We don't know what's going on the top. And I'm not saying it's the top and we're on the bottom, on the top as far as what the world considers the top, because that's not the top. They're not acting like the top. The top rules with wisdom. The top understands that this earth belongs to everybody and you have your part and I stay out of your business. If morally you're doing something wrong, I got to say something and maybe do something, but no, they're fighting for resources. Like kids grabbing for candy when that other kid with the blindfolds on at the birthday party hits the piñata that's up there and all the candy comes spilling down. And now the world that we lived in is gone. And as people transition, a piece of our world goes. A little bit at a time. It's like being in a room that's fully furnished and you go to the bathroom and you come back and 2 chairs from the dining room table's gone. Well, you can sit on another one. You look out the window, you come back, another chair is gone. You go upstairs for a second, come down, take a nap. You come back downstairs, the couch is gone. After a while, it's like, wait a second, there's no way to sit. There's no way to eat. Where are my utensils? Where's the stove at? Our world shrinks. But it doesn't have to if we maintain that certain level of community, where as we get older, we're honored and respected. In many African cultures, the elders are not just olders. See, a lot of the people in the West with the Western thinking, I'm not going to put America down because we got some very wise people there. But we don't respect the elders anymore. And like I said earlier, you can be younger than me and be an elder because you might know something that I can elevate from. You understand? It doesn't have to be where, oh, I'm older than you, because some people are older. And like I said, we got a lot of old fools out here. Like I said, I was on a bus stop or somewhere next to this man, and we were making small talk, really, really small talk. He was telling me how good the juice was that he was drinking and stuff like that. So I said, man, this guy, let me see if I can tap some wisdom out of him. So I asked him a really deep question about stuff that was going on in the world. I just knew I was going to have a good answer, and maybe I can whip out my tape recorder or my phone or my camera and get a video to bring back to show you, because, you know, I do that. And when I asked the question, I looked at him, he was looking the other way. I saw the back of his head. You know what he told me? Yeah, man, you see that girl over there? She got a nice ass. Of course, males are attracted to females and females are attracted to males, but this head full of gray hair that you had, and I'm younger asking something, and that's all you can tell me? I mean, I'm a man. I like what I like. Women like what they like. We understand the sexes come together. But there's a time for that. There's no time, especially at this, look. And I said I was going to end, right? And I keep going. But let me just say this. It's a fact that Black people don't have any friends in this world. Yet, we're coming against each other. And they don't care. It's to their delight. We used to be lynched, and sometimes it comes out that we still are, still happening. Black Wall Street, the agenda against us, Tuskegee experiment, whatever. Our history is littered up into the present, going all the way back from when the majority of us set foot here. And yes, the planet is Africa. We're the original. Some go back 6,000 years and that's it. But they lie and tell you something different, right? But we've been here for so long that we're all over the planet anyway, right? But the cradle of civilization, we're all African. Don't let these fools have us divide ourselves up with a title and fight each other over reparations that we ain't gonna get. Oh yeah, now if they have it come out tomorrow, I'm gonna have my hand out. I ain't just waiting for Social Security. Give me some of that. Because we suffered, but they give everybody else. They may not like me saying it, but Israel gets their money every year. The migrants that are coming, just strolling on in. Imagine you work all week or all your life. You buy a house and you make it a home. You have the refrigerator full. You have the living room nice and the room's nice. And you work hard for this stuff now. And some faction, police or government, forces you to take people in and you got to work and take care of them. You follow the law, do it the right way. Because those of us who have been here and built this place, we catch in hell. And those others who are coming, they're going to call you nigger one day. And they know what they're doing. Because they're going to push us out the workforce. They're going to give them jobs. They're actually going to have them also fighting wars. And they're going to give them status over you and I. Is this hate talk? No, but you can see the trajectory. If I say 2, 4, 6, 8, come on. Only a fool would not know the next one is 10. Look at where we're going. And look how we treat each other. We get online and accuse people that we haven't looked in their face of different things. Well, that one trying to get next to that one. Come on, y'all. Come on. What is wrong with us? This is 2023. 2023. I remember in the 60s, I might have been 4 years old or 5 years old. 5 years old, I think I was. It was 1968. Because I was born in 63. I said, Mommy, how old am I going to be in the year 2000? Because the year 2000, the 2000, I'm thinking it's going to be like the Jetsons. Here's George Jetson, Jane, his wife, yeah. Son, you're going to be 37 years old. I said, Mommy, that's old. I'm going to be 37 in the year 2000. Oh, no. That was 23 years ago. And I'm 60 years old now. That was 23 years ago. And time is moving faster. And we haven't learned anything yet. How about the firemen that said that there were times when, before I elevated a white man, there'd be people burning up in the fire, black people. I might save one just to say I saved one, but I might see 2 or 3 children and hear them screaming. It was getting hotter. And I turned around and left them there. And you trust your doctor? You trust the politician that's manipulating things? You trust your police department? I know some good cops, but they're not the majority. Everybody's going for their own bag, and they want the public acknowledgement until they get busted. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but look at the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. They're investigating him now because of dealings with the country, Turkey, in his campaign. And maybe some money was forwarded to him in an unscrupulous way. So they got his cell phones and they're investigating. But I never really had a good feeling about him. Maybe he's innocent. Maybe he's not. I'm just saying it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's good that I'm wrong, right? We got to go back to following our instincts. I hate to call animals animals, and I'm hearing a whole lot of animals out there right now. Trust me, I don't want to go out there. I don't know what'll bite me up. But animals have more sense in the fact that they follow their instincts because that's all they have to survive. And we got instincts. And we got all this digital distraction in our face. All of our carnal desires that are taking over. Yeah, behind closed doors, do what you do. We're so superficial and want to look this way and look that way, not knowing how much time we have. I remember driving the bus, and there was a lady that I always saw around a certain time, around maybe once a week, because I retain visuals really good. Sometimes I haven't seen her face for 15 years, and I'll tell you the story. Just like I said, I haven't spoken to Gino since the mid-90s. We kept in contact a little bit after I left the job, but we didn't have Facebook back then. So sometimes, you know, life, you get busy and you call every 2 weeks and month and 6 months, and poof, life happens. But the message that I typed to him, the joke that I said and some other things, word for word, when he sees it, he's gonna crack up. And if he listens to this particular video, I mentioned his name early on, so he'll see that I haven't forgotten. And when I get in contact with him, or when he gets in contact with me, I'm gonna have him on the show. I definitely want to have him on the show. I'm not gonna tell him what to say. I'm gonna say, listen, we worked together in some very intense times. Wasn't long, about 2 years. But tell some of the old war stories and don't hold back. He's gonna be shy. I miss the old days, y'all. I'm not some old geezer who just, you know, I like the technology, but it's taken over. Now we got artificial intelligence. You know how many people are in school now? They got things to write out and they just punch something in artificial intelligence and it reads it all, writes it all out for them. No misspellings. What is that doing to our brain? What happened to having an eraser on a pencil? We make a mistake and we erase it. You better erase it clean. What happened to having the confidence to use an ink pen? And you better write something and you better finish on that last line and fill up the last line and don't go on the back side of the page, and that's it. And if you mess up, you rip it up, you throw it away, and you start all over again. What happened to those days? We were tougher. We were stronger. We had a more sense of purpose. But now we're just floating around and yeah, okay. Yeah. That's wrong. And look where it's going. A lot of our children, I hate to say it, have no connection to anything righteous and have become stone cold murderers because they want something. What was the child? What was his age? The one who killed his mother, I believe, because he wanted a PlayStation. Huh? What? If my mother and father weren't getting it, she'd tell me no. And I better not even have an expression on my face that I don't like it. You can't question those things back in the day. So the wool has been pulled over our eyes. The veil has been pulled over our eyes. And we don't see reality as we should. We have all of these things in our head. Our perception of time is thrown off. Because while it's nice to go on YouTube and play an old song, I don't knock you because I play old music all the time. But it had the righteous vibration. I forgot, what's the megahertz, y'all, that it used to be? They changed it, right? But we still have to keep a hold on the present to build a future. Because this present is going to be the past, and the future we hope for is going to be here as the present. So you should always be striving for the future. But we get caught up and we become arrested in our own little bubbles, mentally, physically, and spiritually. There you go, Giant Game. Thank you. 432. I kind of knew that. Yeah, it's easy to say now after you said it, right? But I didn't want to embarrass myself. Thank you for coming through with that. And I think to myself how pure those days were. Yes, we had crime, we had high gas prices and wars, and we had everything we have now pretty much, but not as intense. Things were hidden more. But what we did have is more of a wholesomeness in our personal lives. We felt and received and sent love between each other, that vibration more. Now it's dried up. We become zombies, well-dressed zombies, well-educated zombies, zombies who lost something. They say sometimes when a person's crazy, oh, he's missing a screw. We missing all. I'd rather we just missed the screw because there's a whole lot that we have missing. A whole lot. And we don't even realize it. So how are we going to make it in the afterlife if we can't hold on to the integrity and those real attributes in the present? You ain't studying for the test. How you going to pass the test when the test come? How? You're not prepared. I'm not saying go to church and sit up in the church and no. Money to the pastor to keep his alligator shoes up. No. That's connectedness to each other, that vibration between each other. Yeah. I got to put this on the screen. Giant Gang got jokes, but it's funny. Got your back like a double D bra strap, for real. What happened to us having each other's back? What happened to us walking down the street as young men and young women, and we see a cookout going on, a barbecue in the backyard, and we strangers damn near, but one of the students who's there, the friends, oh, that's my classmate. Well, tell him to come on back and get a plate. Go on back there and get a plate, young man. Go on back there, young woman. Was nobody disrespecting you? They welcome you. Oh, hi, how are you? Your name? Yeah, that's my classmate. At the same time, if you're walking down the street and saw an older woman or anybody bringing their groceries inside, you could not walk past without offering your help. She may not have wanted it. But if she did, she wasn't scared that you're going to case the joint and come back and rob the place. We were more open then. We were more giving then. We loved each other more. Who taught us to hate? Huh? Why is it that we don't have integrity in the things we do for each other? We throw stuff together to give to somebody. Many people, I've heard them say, when I donate clothes to the Salvation Army, or I give clothes away, I don't give anything away that I wouldn't wear myself. You see that? When some people cook food to feed the homeless, I've been involved in that a whole lot. They say, I'm going to cook something, and that's not everybody now. Some people throw all kind of stuff together. I'm like, you got them hard behind crackers and little juices that are fake, the kind of stuff they give out in the jail to sterilize the men, all kind of chemicals, and there ain't no juice in there. Ain't even 1% fruit juice in that bad boy. But they say, I'm not going to feed them with anything less. I'm going to put love in every plate. What happened to that? And so there's something that we're responsible for. I know it seems like nobody's going to appreciate what you do, but it's a personal satisfaction from doing a good job. See, I know where I come from. I know my little F-ups in life, bad decisions, but hopefully there's more good than bad. But you got to remember, you representing the people who raised you, whether they're your parents or not, whoever it was, and whoever fed into you, the people who took the time to tell you what you know now. Not just, a college professor or whatever. No, they're going to tell you things to get that certificate or that degree. They might even help you with some things in life. And the people that fed into you may not be as educated as you are now. You've gone on to do great things and they're proud of you. But everybody who fed into you, you represent them now. Whether they're still alive or they transition, you still represent them. Don't you want to represent them well? Even when you do good in life and years go by and you go back to the old neighborhood or run into somebody that moved away and they see how you've progressed. your friend's grandmother. Let's just make this up. Lance, is that you? Oh my God, Ellie, look at Lance over. You got so big and strong. Oh my God. I knew you was going to be a heartbreaker, but you seem like you do. Come on, give me a hug, baby. Remember you used to sit on my front steps and I used to tell you about life? Tell me what you're doing now. And usually the example goes where, well, I'm married now, or I'm in this career now, and maybe you went into the military, you're back from overseas, whatever. And they see that you did good. And they have a connection to you because they know they fed into you. Maybe not everything, but they knew they tried to do right by you. Even though you did not come from their loins, you were their children. And they invested in you. We're not investing anymore. We throw the kids out. You're on your own. I got mine. You got to get yours. A lot of us are fools right now as we are of an older age. Old age does not bring wisdom. You learning from the things that you've been through in this life. That's what teaches you. And we all go through things, and some of us don't learn a damn thing. There's no excuse for that. You know, while the attacks are going on, they know that their birth rates, and I say they, I don't want to get flagged, right? I could be talking about roaches. Might as well be, right? Same thing. But their birth rates are going down. And they're doing a lot of underhanded things to come against us. Who the hell is Bill Gates to say that we need to give this vaccine to Africans and find out that it sterilizes us? What is this fascination? What the hell? This dude got all the money in the world. Let's be real. Best that he just go ahead and be a womanizer. He got to be a weirdo worried about black people. I'm not condoning womanizers. All I'm saying is that he got all the money in the world to get all the blowjobs he wants. Why is he worried about daggone Africans? Mind your business. What happened to you, Bill Gates? I don't care. But every now and then he pops up. Oh, we want to block the sun. You got all that money. You can make it. I'm buying up all the farmland. What do you know about the food supply as to why you buying up all this farmland? You better watch that bugger. He's creepy. That's that dude who never came out and played with the other kids, and he stayed in the room watching you, plucking out the wings of flies, doing some weird stuff, sticking Q-tips up his anus. I don't know. But he bears watching. We don't have no friends. And he's down with a lot of other people who got money and have some influence. Ain't you the Microsoft dude? Make a better computer. You worried about shooting up people and sterilizing them and what now? Malaria in Florida and all these artificial mosquito, and you don't know what they're doing. Let me tell you something. That year that I caught malaria in 2019, and came back and almost died. Left April 25th, came back May 13 from Ghana, and almost died. And find out that I also have Lyme's disease. And it ain't working because one of the things with that is that you get chronic and severe fatigue. I'm kicking Lyme's disease behind. You eat good, you sleep good, you keep a positive mind, keep hydrated, keep nourished. And if you're here for a reason, ain't nothing gonna stop you. I started out a little tired. I look like I'm ready to go another 30 rounds. Once you get warmed up, I'm gonna go to bed soon. I said about an hour ago, didn't I? But there was an article when I came back and found that out, that the House of Representatives, and it's still got to be out there unless they scrub the internet of it, the House of Representatives was inquiring to the Department of Defense. Those people who know me well, you know the story. Young lady was going for an interview, been there all those years and follows, you know, everything that Lancescurv does. And the second question in her interview was, you following this guy on YouTube and social media, he's radical. Why do you do this? Who's his name? Who is it? Lancescurv. That freaked me out. Department of Defense. But the House of Representatives were inquiring to the Department of Defense. I read the article from several sources as to what you are doing with weaponized ticks. Weaponized ticks, y'all. Ticks bite. Ticks give you things. Huh? What's up with that? There's a lot of dirty things going on in our midst. They find out with the majority of poor Black neighborhoods, right, that they live near toxic dumps. The one who's running for president now, the Kennedy, he found that out years ago. And I happen to find out that the Paramore area that has been gentrified in Orlando, Florida, all types of toxic chemicals in the soil. And I used to do videos. I'm here now. She's still there. I'm going to bring her on. Maybe on a split screen, Lawana Geltzer. I'm not going to say low level, but she wasn't running for mayor, but she was going for District 5 city commissioner. And I would do videos for her that she could share so she can get the vote. She never got it because, okay, she was a truth teller. And they came against her. So I have a lot of experience with different categories and offering yourself to say, hey, I'll do this for you. And you gain knowledge that way. Community. Unity is in that word, community. C-O, with, right? Unity. Where is it? We don't have it no more. We have just neighborhoods. We don't take pride in our work ethic. We don't take pride in how we speak, how we communicate. We don't take pride in, I'm not saying anybody here. And again, I take my hat off to those who do this. But we don't have it anymore. We're not looking to preserve it. And the young ones are coming up almost like the Pied Piper of social media and all those decadent things. They're following them now. They're not following us anymore. Don't you wonder when they say in social media language that follow me? Follow me. When you look at it and they break it down, you need to follow that voice that you have on the inside. You need to follow your instincts. You don't need to give up yourself and what you feel on the inside to follow something you don't know about because it's pretty and glossy. And we have filters on Instagram and we can put music behind it and we can remove our pimples and we can make ourselves look slimmer. We can make ourselves look younger. And they talk about the metaverse and getting caught up in the metaverse. We already in the metaverse, y'all. We're already walking around seeing reality around us, but we don't see it because something got straight to our brain. You ever see a heroin addict? He's standing right there next to you, nodding out. Face like 6 inches from the ground, but he ain't fall yet. Has just enough awareness to not fall. And we used to sit there and watch him. You watch this time, he gonna fall now. Yeah, there you go. There you go. What? He stood up again? Well, that's a drug that did that. So we say, oh no, I'm not on drugs. I don't mess with substances. But your smartphone is the biggest crack pipe that you ever want to see. Right? Because it gets straight to the brain faster than crack. You get up in the middle of the night to go pee, and you grabbing for the smartphone to see if somebody replied to something you said on Facebook. Or somebody you argue with. I've seen people argue all day long with strangers over people that they don't even know, they'll never meet, and you argue with them. Can't you take that energy somewhere else and do better for yourself? That's a whole different topic. Maybe we talk about that tomorrow when I wake up. Because as soon as I wake up, I'm going to get right back up on it. I'm going to stay on it. The opponent might be bigger. The opponent might be stronger. But when we get in that ring, I'm going to put my head in their chest so they can't hit me, and I'm going to wail away and just keep punching until the final bell rings. Anyway, I'm going to sign off. I didn't see the chat room as much. I just want to focus and flow. I said I was going to do an hour, and I ended up doing 2. See, I always do that. But it's never wasted time. It's never wasted energy because I love you all righteously. Even if I don't even know you, I love you. You see? And that's what it's all about. Community. Being aware that you're there and that we have to look out for each other in an unconditional way. That's the only way to go. And maybe some of my words might inspire somebody 20 years from now, whether I'm here or not. That's the bottom line. You do it because it's a continuum. Because when you were born, you couldn't feed yourself. You couldn't wipe your backside. You couldn't even walk. You were at the mercy of those who raised you. But now that we're grown, we can do for ourselves. We act as though we don't need more raising. So we need our elders. And when you see them, even when some of them don't have any sense, they got something to tell you. Maybe from the example of their life of something they didn't do or whatever. We need to honor everybody because we all have a position in this world. We need to be able to help each other, right? And do for each other. Anyway, not so soon, music. Don't rush me off. I'll talk for another hour, daggone it. That might be artificial intelligence. Get him to shut up. Right? But I'm going to sign off. Thank you for your time. Listen to what the crazy stuff in my brain is coming out. I love you all. Make sure to hit Lancescurv.com all the time and just dig through the crates. 2 decades plus of content and more coming. As long as I have strength and breath, I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing. And in your own way, show us all the love from what you can do. We all have different positions in this life. And I express myself through these means. And there's other things that people do, and I respect it. So come on in and share. And just like that cookout in the backyard where the people who were having the cookout, they might have been kind of broke. And say, listen, we got 3 chickens, hamburger meat, and a half a turkey. Y'all need to bring the macaroni and cheese. You bring the salad. And like I said the other night, everybody bring tuna salad. You have all the food now, everybody's eating. And the one who was real broke, just bring some paper plates. You already got some, but they got to pitch something in, sacrifice something for the greater good. We went on and enjoyed ourselves. Half our bills weren't paid, but we were going to enjoy ourselves and show that love. And it's that unity and love that always brought us through. You say you believe in a higher power, creator, whatever you want to call it, the most high, whatever. Don't you think that he wants to see his children getting along? And if you don't hold venom for each other, then he may say, okay, you can't love my child and you're my child too, but I'm going to make you feel something to bring you back and make you humble to do the right thing. Maybe that's why we're going through so much. I don't know. But if we bring back love in our community, nobody can show us hate and defeat us behind that, because our love is much stronger than hate. Lancescurv.com, like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to see you when I wake up. I earn my rest now. I can sleep deep. And I do have a few phone calls to make, and I'm going to doze off. Thank you for giving me the ability to have good dreams now, because we're going to sleep down and drool in that pillow. All right? So I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Much love to you all. So long.